Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar. I'm Beatrice Lam, the Field Marketing Manager for Barracuda MSP APAC. Today we have Matt Caffrey, he's our sales engineer, and he'll be your presenter today. This webinar should take around 30 minutes. If you have any questions, please submit them by using the Q&A panel, and we'll go through your questions at the end. On that note, I'll hand it over to you, Matt.
Thank you, Beatrice, and thank you everyone for joining this morning. This morning, in the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about the impact of missing phishing attacks, then creating an incident response strategy, which is based around getting that response implemented as quickly as possible, and then using some tools to automate your incident response. As you can see here, there's a couple of screenshots, one being from cyber.gov, and then the other one from the ACCC's scam activity in 2020. The top one there, just released just the other day, suggests that there's actually been an elevated presence of property-related business email compromises, and that's rising in Australia here, along with other regions. You would appreciate that property related business is quite a lucrative market for transactions, and real estate agents, in the case of that silo, tend to get targeted because they're dealing with multiple customers and vendors from different domains, and they deal with those transactions. So they could be easily intercepted in terms of that email communication, and then funds misdirected down to a bad actor. You'll be able to see here the cumulative losses of 128 million for business email compromise. Now, that is obviously a large amount of money. When you break it down, it can be subsequent to at least 10 grand per organization, it comes at a big cost. Most of our customers that tend to leverage our products will see a nice conversion easily after an issue has been identified and transfer has been made. So we do have some tools there that can help talk to your customer about giving them an extra layer of protection for business email compromise and phishing. Over in New Zealand, they also experienced a similar trend. Phishing and credential harvesting is one of the most reported incidents in New Zealand, making up 46% actually of all incidents that have been reported to CERT NZ. They also identified 500 vulnerable Exchange mail servers and over 100 compromised email servers. Notably, the majority of these compromised mail servers belonged obviously to small business, which is going to be one of your targets. And it's clearly a huge risk to modern organizations. So let's unpack why. When it comes to phishing attacks in end user inboxes, you'll be able to see here that there's a very well-crafted email from a bad actor asking people to verify their sign-in access. It comes from usually a high reputation sender, and it comes into a high reputation domain within that link, which will then look like the bottom right-hand corner there for someone to put in their credentials unwittingly. Business email compromises also have a flavor like this, where there's no spam identifiers. So there's nothing that the gateway defenses can detect on that. So that's where machine learning is advantageous to looking at the context of that mail message and looking at the sending and receiving habits of that individual that is getting that business email compromise attack. There's obviously a cost to business. If you have 5 incidents per day and then it takes around 4 hours to respond to those incidents, you could easily lose $15,000 in a cost of a data breach. Now, it might be that they've transferred money across, but then you've also got the brand reputation damage that will be an impact to that business, where maybe that customer that has notified your customer of the data breach will have less confidence in dealing with them and cause that brand reputation issue. There are other technologies such as DMARC reporting, which I can guide you through, and we can talk about DMARC and implementing that to safeguard your customers' businesses. In effective email protection, obviously there's prevention, on gateway level, on the mailbox level, and then also making sure that you have an immutable version of those mail messages in an archiving compliance tool. And finally, turning your end users from a liability to an asset in training them to spot those particular emails that are of a phishing nature. Secondary, you want to try and detect and automate as much as you can using detection techniques such as looking for suspicious sign-ins, suspicious inbox rules in an account takeover, and then looking for anomalies. Now, there might be a domain that has a single S on the end of their domain. It might be domains.com. A bad actor might register another domain called domain.s.com, which look very similar to an end user, and then that will give them the ability to do a conversation hijack. They can also do a conversation hijack by misdirecting email messages via creating inbox rules inside that targeted mailbox. Threat hunting, obviously, we're able to look inside and gain intelligence from mailboxes to identify threats, and as part of an intelligence network, those threats can be identified and supplied to the MSP to do further threat hunting inside that mailbox. Finally, response is to look at those reported messages. Now, they could be end user reported or threat intelligence network supplied through other avenues. Maybe a vendor such as Barracuda would be able to give you those threat insights and then alert you of those, and then be able to triage those messages and then do a cleanup and reduce the attack by resetting that password inside that account, and then killing those sessions that are tied to that account that is being used by the bad actor. The average cost of a data breach, as you can see here in the IBM report, is steadily increasing. Now, you can see that by automation security level being not deployed, partially deployed, and then fully deployed. The bad actors are doing this more often. From 2019 to 2020, there's a big change in the world. People are working remotely, but it is a lucrative business for those people in the game of compromising your customers. That said, automation has rapidly reduced the impact in the cost to business. So now on to creating an incident response inside your MSP. So this is what an incident response playbook looks like. Go through and prepare by aligning those people and technologies. Escalate to obviously reduce time in need monitoring, and then escalate an incident response. Identify the attack scope and the impact on the users and infrastructure and intellectual property that you have inside your customer's business. Containing that spread, be it resetting passwords or shutting out access to that bad actor. And then finally, recover any lost data if they've been malicious in any way, and then continually secure your security posture. This is a continual game. As you can see, it's piping back around to itself. Security is something you don't just work on one weekend or 1 week. It's a constant battle. So you obviously, as MSPs, you would need to continually review this from a security standpoint. So first up, we need to align these three things. technology, people, and the process or processes that are involved. Using that technology to detect, automate, and then restore if required, ensuring people have end user security awareness and phishing simulation. And then the processes would be what we've just covered off before to identify, report, investigate, contain, and recover. Under escalation, so threat hunting, you would have post-delivery remediation, looking for unusual inbox rules or logins, and messages from unusual geo IPs. Under user reporting, we have obviously users that are trained up and they are able to report that via an Outlook plugin or another means into a reporting tool. Then escalating that report to an incident response platform. That will be in the form of an alert that's generated once that end user has submitted it. So that automates that process for you guys on the help desk side, so you can focus on the things that you need to until an event arises. So from there, when end user has received and responded, perhaps, and alerted you, it's a race against time, obviously. From the first click to an end user report, on average, it's around half an hour. So we need to obviously keep our finger on the pulse in terms of incident response, but then also allowing technologies such as machine learning to protect mailboxes and then automatically remediate mail messages that are going to be delivered into a mailbox. In terms of the threat hunting, you need to have a sharing network, as I'd mentioned, like a global intelligence network, threats that are related to previous incidents, and messages from unusual locations and suspicious logins. Now, that can be driven by machine learning and AI, which Barracuda can certainly help you with. And then finally, as we talked about, training up those users on that single report and then escalating that incident response through a response platform, which Barracuda can help you with. Now, identifying the impact can be a little bit tricky. You need to have a tool that you can use to go through and walk a mailbox in the case of email security to define the impact. That might be the bad actor has moved laterally through the 365 tenant in this case, or they could send out mail messages that are asking for different account numbers and BSBs for payments to be made. So you would need to be able to quickly search across all mailboxes. It could be 5,000 mailboxes or it could be 3, but the technology is going to be all the same. So the end user technician response is going to be the same day in, day out. So when it comes to acting fast, you want to automate, you want to have the visibility so you can see who's clicked on it, reply to an email, and then communication for an action plan that will be all aligned on your side of the business to protect that end user. Under containment, will be removing malicious emails. Now that would be in 365. You can pull mail messages from the mailbox, and you want to be able to do that simply and easily across all mailboxes, not having to log into each individual mailbox. And then what bad actors could do is they could delete that mail message, so you don't know where that goes, that email message has been sent to. There are other ways to detect that. Luckily, Barracuda can sort that in relation to using the Exchange message log. So we know exactly where those mail messages go to. Collecting that threat intelligence by doing queries and then automating that response, be it sending out an email to a person that has received an email from a bad actor external to the organization, or pulling that out. And then also doing continuous remediation post-recovery. So that incident response can take up to 4 hours. As I mentioned, looking through each individual mailbox does take time. Looking through Exchange mail messages obviously will take a lot of time. If you have those 5 incidents times those 4 hours, that's 20 hours of your work. I used to work at a couple of MSPs prior to working for Barracuda. And certainly I've seen this in place, and I'm sure a lot of people on the call today have experienced this as well. It takes a lot of time to do that forensics work and then automate a response. By that stage, bad actors can still be working their way through a mailbox, or the remnants are still around, possibly bringing other people into the fold as part of their attack. So exactly right here, the slow incident response will leave you vulnerable. Obviously, it needs to be fast, efficient, of bang those and proactive, bang those measures home today on this presentation. In terms of the automated response with Barracuda, the preparation and escalation will be done via an end user reported email. That will be done via the Outlook plugin. I identify those through forensics and insights. So we've got a portal there that will be identify and then alert you, and I can take you through that. You can search for other recipients, so you can craft your own threat hunting within inside the incident response to find users that have, and obviously users that have created an incident, and find out who has clicked on those links. Then under the Contain and Recover, remove those mail messages from the inbox and send out email alerts to those people that you can't recall those messages. Anything outside of your own tenant you can't recall. So we give you the ability to craft your own mail message that would be sent out to those end users, and then ask them to remove that message to stop that propagation. And then obviously block future attacks by resetting those passwords. Now, those steps that we were talking about, previously would take you about 4 hours per incident. You can see here from identification to containment and recovery, we're looking at less than 10 minutes. So it is a game changer in terms of time saving, and I can take you through how quickly that is conducted. And you can set up a template within the product to have your incident response the same every time. So recovering from data loss and damage, obviously you want to secure your users, protect against future attacks by resetting their passwords, and then recover via a backup. If it is 365 or if it is Exchange, there are a couple of products if you want to have a chat with that about those products in terms of data recovery, more than happy to do so. So securing your users, obviously we need to change passwords and inspect machines, ensuring that you've got no issues inside your security logs, and you have a nice platform there to do a cybersecurity assessment across your end user machines. Then the next point would be finding the weakness in the link of those people that are inside your organization. Now, inside one of our products, which is free of charge, called an email threat scan, you can run an email threat scan on that tenant, and then they'll give you the people that are the highest victims of phishing attacks, the ones that deal with invoices and that hold a C-level or executive position to then be targeted within a phishing campaign. And that can be done via a product that Barracuda has here. Looking for bad geo IPs from those senders, which you can then lock down in a gateway, and then finally pipe those security requests or those web requests and domains that have been used into a DNS filter and put those IP addresses into the firewall for blocking. So to automate that response, we have a product called Forensics and Incident Response. It allows you to automate, respond, reduce that impact, and then proactively identify those threats and prevent future attacks by locking down those IP addresses and fully qualified domain names that have been used. Also give you the ability to do a custom search and take away those mail messages that have been used to propagate the attack. So just always remember, at the end of the day, if you want to take a screenshot of this, you can. You would obviously want to prepare, escalate, identify, contain, and recover from incidents, and just make sure that, it's like a fire alarm. Go through your playbook from time to time with your technicians, and from there, everyone can be on the same page in terms of securing your customers in a timely fashion and reducing the cost to you, the MSP, and also to the customer that you're managing. Next steps, we do have the ability to do a trial. I'm happy to walk you through that, and then also a demo of the product so we can talk about managing your own incident response. At Barracuda, we work with many MSP groups, and we provide your team with relevant resources to help your sales, marketing, and business operations with the relevant industry information. More than welcome to take a screenshot of these sites here. Well worth you and your team to have a look. Thank you, and any questions?
Great, thank you, Matt. Let's go through the questions from our audience. Matt, are you ready?
Yep, no problem.
Sorry, give me just 1 second. Let me make this screen bigger. First question is from George. Do you have any materials that you showed earlier about the email scams? So I'll take this one. So yes, we do actually. We've got a rebrandable PDF that you can use to educate your clients about the latest email threats in Australia and New Zealand. So I can send you a link after this webinar, George. And moving on to the next question from Thomas. You mentioned something about an email scanner. What is it?
Oh yeah, so the email threat scanner is a free scanning service to look at a retrospective year's worth of mail with inside a 365 tenant to then draw a report to then take to a customer and then show them of those threats that are inside the mailbox. To get to that, you can go to barracudamsp.com/free scan. So it's barracudamsp.com/free scan. Alternatively, feel more than welcome to book me in and I can take you through that. And then we could do some scans on that call.
Great, thank you, Matt. And next question is about the product licensing. How does it work?
Yeah, so product licensing is aligned with Microsoft 365 mailboxes. All of our products on the email security suite side are aligned as such. So if they are a 365 mailbox licensed, then they will be billed. Alternate to that, we would give you free distribution groups, free shared resources for their shared mailboxes to be protected and also responded to.
Great, thank you, Matt. And Jamie is asking, how long is the trial period?
Yeah, so trial period, we want to work with MSPs. So we will just set that trial period through the sales team, and then they will have a chat to you about what meets your needs in a timely fashion.
Awesome. And we've got Fred and David are asking about pricing. So I'm going to get sales to reach out to you after this webinar. And so that was all the questions that we have. Thank you for your questions. Just before we go, just want to let you know that we have another webinar coming up this month. It's going to be on the 16th, and we'll be discussing why adopting a multi-layer security approach can help with your MSP business. So our regional account director, Luke Smith, he will be hosting that one. So we actually have a sign-up link for you. It will pop up after this webinar. So if you have any questions, our contacts are on the screen. And thank you so much, Matt, for presenting. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We hope you find the content useful. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Great. See you guys. Bye.